In today's video, I am going to be looking at Luka Doncic and his step back and the 5 things that he does extremely well that you can incorporate into your game. Let's get down. Let's check out Luka Doncic. So one thing that Luka Doncic does extremely well is misdirection before he goes into his step back. So here what we see is him dribbling with his left hand, and then he does a quick right jab through his leg, like if he is about to attack that side or that screen. After that crossover, he goes behind his back, keeping that ball away from his defender, keeping his body between the ball and his defender so that it cannot be stolen. And then on that right step, while looking at that rim, making sure that, in this case, Ross is not going to be guarding him and Ross's momentum is taking him towards the rim, we then see Luka Doncic take that one big, massive step back and then gets his right leg underneath the right side of his body. This is what's going to give him the balance. Meanwhile, that left leg is there to be able to stop his progression or momentum towards that left side. This then allows him to get up into his set point, being on his toes. Now, Luka Doncic does bring his knees together on his shot, but he's able to get up for that shot cleanly, all because of the work that he put in to set up this move, that quick right jab cross to be able to get Terrence Ross onto his heels, and then creates that separation with that move and with that quick right jab forward for that step back. This was a perfect move to pull off. So here we have a quick small hesitation that gets that defender's heels on the ground. If we rewind, we see that hesitation, and then he does a quick slight push off through the leg step back for that shot. He sets this all up when he does that quick hesitation where he goes right foot to left and then has that negative step and pushes off towards the player. When he pushes off towards the player, he takes one step, gets his shoulders over his knees and toes, and that will allow him to be able to push that player off slightly. Now, this could have been called a push off, but it was not called. He then goes through his legs, and then watch. That ball is not gathered yet. He still has a step in between that he could take, and that's what he does right there. As soon as he takes that step, he has now gathered that ball. He can take 1 to 2 steps, depending on the referee at the youth level. However, technically speaking, since that is not a step, he still has 2 steps. That's his pivot. So he has 1, 2, and then he's able to go up for that shot. This is all about when you gather that ball. You have to remember that. He hasn't gathered that ball yet, and he also technically is off the ground. He gathers that ball when his right foot is on the ground, which means that he has not taken any steps yet. And then he pushes off left, right. This is the footwork that you really need to learn, but it's not just all about footwork. It's all about your hands when it comes to that basketball. If he was to have that hand underneath that basketball, he would have been gathering on these steps and it would have been called a travel. But by keeping his hand on top of that ball and not gathering until he's on his right foot, that then allows him to take those 2 steps back. And we can really clearly see it here where he's on that right foot and he gets those 2 hands on that ball and then he's able to take those 2 steps. I'm going to tell you right now as well, another secret to a step back is if you are driving towards that right side and you snatch back towards your left, if you are a right-handed player, that will allow your right side to get in line with the rim so that you can have a much faster shot as well. Also, taking a step in the direction that you're going. So, for example, here we had Luka Doncic who was driving on that defender, and he took one really big, massive step. That made that defender think that he was going to continue in that direction, but in reality, he's able to do that step back for that shot. Of course, he makes it, but there is so much greatness in this move. Watch his hand. This is not a travel.
travel. So he takes that big one massive step, and then he gets on his left foot and gathers on his left foot. Technically, that is not a step. Remember, you're allowed one-ish steps between your dribbles. So, otherwise, you wouldn't be able to dribble and move at the same time, which means that by gathering on that left foot and then getting two hands on the ball on that left foot, he can technically take 2 steps. Well, there's technically only one because he landed on both feet at the same exact time. However, he could have still, if he was closer to the rim, taken 1 and 2 and gotten even farther away from his defender, because he'd be shooting off of 1 foot, and if it's a floater, you'd be okay. But being a 3-point shot, you really want to push off and land on both at the same time so that you can go up for a 2-footed jump shot. And this is absolutely amazing because watch, by going towards his left side, he can get his right side of his body in line. You really only need to get your shoulder, elbow, and ball in line. See how it's in line right there? To the rim, and he's able to do that and make that shot. And then in this clip, we can see that he's able to do some quick small crossovers to get that defender onto his heels. You really want to do quick crossovers sometimes to be able to do that. Here he goes through his left leg, right leg, and then behind his back. Does almost like a small hesitation, gets that ball out wide. This is why, especially for the players on the team that I coach, why I really tell you to practice when we're doing our dribbling to get that ball out super wide, because then you can do these quick shoulder hesitation moves to get that defender down onto their heels. Here, he's able to do that crossover through his legs, like if he's about to attack that right side, and then he's able to push off his right foot because he gathers the ball on his right foot, and then takes that step back 1-2, and he's able to take that 3. I hope that this breakdown really helps you with your step back jump shot. If it does, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.